Hey guys, how are you? I miss all of you. I wish that I could be with you. This whole staying at home is for the birds. I miss you guys and think of you often. So I just wanted to send you a video today of how to multiply fractions. So we are getting really good at adding and subtracting fractions, adding and subtracting mixed numbers, adding and subtracting mixed numbers where you have to regroup. So we are ready to move on to multiplying fractions. So before I teach you the shortcut, as always, I'm going to teach you a long way because the long way often teaches you things that are important to help you understand why the short way works. So if you would please go to page 41 in the PB part of your hole punched workbook. That's the sheet that we're going to be filling in. All right, so if you need to pause here and go get it, that's fine. If you got it already and you're ready to go, let's go. So first we're going to model multiplication through these rectangles here that we have. So let's take a look at the first one. It says that we're trying to find 3/4 of 3/7. Now we're going to look at the of 3/7 first. Think about this. If your mom says you can have half of the pack of cookies, the first thing you need is the pack of cookies in order to take half of it. So this is kind of like our pack of cookies. We're taking 3/4 of something, and that's the thing that we're taking 3/4 of. So we're going to use this box and we're going to draw 3/7. Now, unfortunately, we're starting out with a hard one because sevenths are hard to draw. So my suggestion to you is do not go crazy and draw 3/7 right away. I want you to lightly, along the top edge of this rectangle right here, I want you to split it up into what you think is roughly sevenths. So that means you're going to draw 6 lines across the top here, because when you do that, then you should get 7 spaces. So I'm going to roughly do here 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. When I draw them, then I should get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if you didn't do that very well, just that's okay because you drew it lightly. So just erase it and try it again until you get roughly 7 equal spaces. I can tell mine aren't exactly equal, but they're close enough for me. So I'm going to draw them like that. And again, pause anytime you need to. If you need to erase and go back and do something, that's fine. All right, so I have roughly 3/7. Again, we're going to pretend that we've drawn that exactly as sevenths instead of roughly as sevenths. And then to show that I have 3/7, I'm going to shade 3 of them. And I want you to do them side by side. I don't want you to do one here and one here and one here. Do them side by side. All right, and I don't care if you do these 3 here or these 3 over here. But just do them together. Okay, now we are taking 3/4 of the 3/7. So along this left edge, what we're going to do is we're going to cut that into fourths, right? So fourths are nice and easy. First cut along the center and draw it right down there. That's half, and then split each of those halves into halves. All right. Now we're going to take 3/4 of the 3/7. So again, these are our fourths right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to shade, but in the opposite direction. Oh, Kitty is coming to make an appearance. I'm going to shade in the opposite direction, 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. All right, again, these were our fourths, and I'm shading in 3 of them. All right. Now the answer is whatever area is shaded twice. The first shaded in the one direction for the 3/7, the second shaded in the opposite direction for the 3/4. So I now have 9 pieces that were shaded twice, and those 9 pieces, when we consider out of the whole thing, this is 9, and then out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and another 7 is 14, and another 7 is 21, and another 7 is 28. So this is 9 28ths. And I know a lot of you don't like to write out words like that, so if you want to write it as a fraction, 9/28, you can write it like that. Okay, if you need to stop and rewatch that or just stop and catch up, that's fine. Let's go on to problem 2. And as we do these, I want you to kind of be looking and say, do I notice a pattern here? Is there something about what we're doing, about the numbers that we're involving, that would lead me to think that I should get 9/28 as the answer? All right, so next one. 1/3 of 1/3. Again, we're going to start with this one because that is what we have to take a third of. This is our pack of cookies that we're taking 1/3 of. All right, so again, very lightly across the top edge, I need you to cut it. Draw 2 lines because 2 lines will cut it into 3 pieces. And again, we want them roughly equally spaced. That is a skill, so if you don't feel like you did a good job, don't beat yourself up. It takes a lot of practice. You know I went to lineology, so that's why I'm good at these. Okay, so I'm going to shade in 1/3. All right, now out of that we've drawn, I'm going to take 1/3 of that. So again, in this direction, on the left-hand edge, I'm going to cut this into 3 equal pieces by drawing two little lines right here. I think this one needs to go up a little bit higher. Okay, now let me draw those. And I'm going to shade 1 row out of these 3, and I'm going to shade it the opposite direction so that I can see where I've double shaded. Okay, so the only box that's double shaded right here is the one that I want. So I shaded 1, all right, out of the 3 that were originally shaded. When I went back and shaded in the opposite direction, only one of them got double shaded. And so I got 1 out of, and now I see how many squares there are altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is 1/9. Or in math symbols, sorry, I know I shouldn't be writing the slanted line like that. Let me fix that. 1/9. This also is 1/9, but there are a lot of problems with that because it's easy to get it confused with other things. So it's better to do this, although sometimes people, when they're being sloppy like me, write it that way too. Okay, let's do the next one. So 1/3 of 1/4. Again, here's our pack of cookies that we're taking 1/3 of. So we need to split this into fourths and then shade 1. So again, fourths are nice and easy because we just cut in half. That doesn't look like half. I'm going to say it's right about there. All right, I want 1/4. And then on the left margin, I'm going to do 1/3 or thirds. So I'm going to split this in. I'm going to put 2 lines about equally spaced. I think this one should go a little bit higher and this one should go a little bit lower. Okay, now I need to shade in 1/3, and I'm going to shade it in the opposite direction so I can see which one's double shaded. All right, so there's just 1 that's double shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is 1/12 or 1/12. Okay, so again, I'm going to pause you right here and ask you to go back. Let me rewrite these not as words, but write them as numbers. So this is 3/4 of 3/7. And I want you to look at your answer that you got for that and see if you're starting to notice a pattern. This is 1/3 of 1/3. See if you're noticing a pattern between this and what you got as an answer. Then this is number 3 that we just did. This is 1/3 of 1/4. This is what we were finding. This is the answer we got. If I were here in the classroom with you right now, I'd say, oh, I see a bunch of people who just figured out what the pattern is, but let's keep going. All right, this says, now we are actually writing this in numbers. So this says 2/5 of 4/5. We're going to do that first. So again, you're going to draw 4 lines across the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's a little bit too far over, but we'll go with that. Okay, and then draw the line down. Okay, and we want 4/5, so I'm going to shade in 4 of these blocks. All right, now we want 2/5 of this. So again, now we've got to go 4 down this side, 4 to make fifths. And they're going to be smaller than the ones that were up here because obviously that's longer. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then I'm going to shade in 2/5. So I'm going to shade the opposite direction. So that I can see that these 8 are the ones that are double shaded. Right, and it's 8 out of, how many were there all together? Well, that would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So it's 8 25ths. Or 8 25ths. Right? Is this following the same pattern that you thought? If you had an idea about how we take this and get this, how we take this and get this, or the better one, how we take this and get this, is this following the same pattern that you thought? All right, if it is, then I want you to think about what do you think the answer should be to this one? All right, if you guessed 1/4, you're either thinking of the right pattern, or maybe you just got lucky. But all right, let's go and do this. All right, so here is the thing that we need to shade first. So we need to do half, and we need to do one of them. And then again, on this edge, we're going to take half and shade in the opposite direction. This is the one that was double shaded, so it's 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and that's what we got. That's what we guessed. All right, so then think about this one. Again, I'm going to write it out in numbers. 5/6 of 7/8. So it's going to be a little bit of a pain to draw, but we can do it. All right, so let's draw 7/8. So 8ths, we're just going to cut down the middle here. And then down the middle again. And then down the middle again. And we're going to shade all but one of them to give us our 7/8. All right, now we need to mark 6ths along this edge. I'm going to cut it in half at first. We can't continue to half, but each of these we're going to cut into 3. So 2 lines here. That will make thirds up at the top. And then we'll do the same thing so that all together we end up getting 6ths. And then we're going to shade 5 of them, and again go the opposite direction so you can tell that you've double shaded. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so here is the region of boxes that are double shaded. How many are there? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in this row, and there are 5 rows of 7. So it's 35. And then how many were there all together? Well, if this were 7, this is 8. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. So 35 48ths. Or 35 over 48. All right, so what's the pattern then? All right, if I give you, let's say, 2/9 times 4/5, what are you going to do to find the answer without drawing the squares here or the rectangles? Well, if we follow the same pattern here, notice this was 3 and 3 up top, 4 and 8 in the denominator, and our fraction, our answer was 9, their product, over 28, their product, right? Same thing here. We had a 1 and a 1, a 3 and a 3. The answer was 1, which is the product of the numerators, 9th, which is the product of the denominators. Same thing here. We had 2 1s in the numerator, and here we have a 1 in the numerator. That's the answer. That's their product. And then in the denominator, we had a 3 and a 4. Oh, we have a visitor here. You can see my cat, who just can't get enough of me. All right, move out, kitty. He's very difficult. He loves math, just like me. That's why we picked him. Okay, so then 3 times 4 is 12. That gives us the denominator. So in order to multiply, hopefully you figured out that you just take the numerators and multiply them and the denominators. So in this problem down here, we would do 2 times 4 is 8, and 9 times 5 is 45. And that would be our answer. Let's do one more, and then I'm going to stop here. So let's say we had 3/5 times 1/2. This would be 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times 2 is 10. Our product, or our answer, would be 3/10. Okay, I'm going to give you some of these to practice, but for right now, that's all I got. All right, bye.